This video presents some of the Academy's lighter side of life. They are the notable notes and Academy's first and only. Some articles may be interesting, revealing, and in some instances hilarious, but they only prove to those who do not belong in the ranks of gray that upgrade that, much like a human being, experiences the drama and fortunes of human life. The oldest ever to graduate from the constabulary school, and the only to have graduated twice. With a history spanning over 3/4 of a century, the oldest graduate ever to merge from the ranks of the old school was Julian Cadiz of Bulacan, who entered the school on January 1, 1909 as a student officer at the age of 48. Also, he is the only one known to have undergone the same training twice after having graduated on 31 March 1909. He attended another batch from 15 October 1909 to 25 January 1910 and again graduated. Do you know that the youngest superintendent ever to be appointed to office, the only graduate to be appointed to the position 64 days after graduation? Second Lieutenant Frank M. Sowers, born in Indiana on 24 August 1881, was appointed as acting superintendent of the Constabulary School on 3 May 1911. At that time, he was only 30 years old and a fresh graduate from the same institution, having completed his training on 10 March 1911. The two consecutive failures in two military institutions within the same year. Leroy E. McGraw of North Dakota, a USMA cadet class 1916, was dismissed from West Point effective 13 January 1913. Finding his way to join the Philippine Military Service, he volunteered in the Philippine Constabulary on 16 May 1913 and commissioned as 3rd Lieutenant. On 14 June of that same year, he entered the PC School but was subsequently discharged on 17 November 1913. Do you know that there are classes that never existed in PMA? The PMA class of 1930 and the PMA class of 1939 never existed. With the passage of Act Number 3496 by the Philippine Legislative on December 8, 1928, the Academy for Officers of the Philippine Constabulary was renamed Philippine Constabulary Academy, and the course was lengthened from 2 to 3 years. Thus, the PMA class of 1928 and 1929 became the transition classes, while the supposed PMA class of 1930 was made to graduate in 1931 and became the PMA class of 1931, the first under the new 3-year course of the Philippine Constabulary Academy. The passage on December 21, 1935 of Commonwealth Act No. 1 extended further the course of instruction to 4 years, awarded to its graduates the degree of Bachelor of Science, and authorized the final change of its name to the present Philippine Military Academy. Nevertheless, the 3-year course of instruction still covered the graduating PMA class of 1936, the PMA class of 1937, and even the PMA class of 1938 were already undergoing training in the Academy. At that time, the law was made. But with the entry of 120 new plebes on June 16, 1936, the new curriculum as prescribed by the National Defense Act was already implemented, thereby making them compose the class of 1940 instead of 1939. Hence, the PMA class of 1939 never existed. First captain for 2 consecutive years. Cadet Ramon A. Olbes of the PMA class of 1940 holds the distinction of having been the cadet first captain or the baron of the Cadet Corps of the Army of the Philippines for 2 consecutive years. The classes of 1936 to 1937 and 1938 were the transition classes of the change from the old Philippine Constabulary Academy to the present Philippine Military Academy. Since the class of 1938 was the last to graduate under the 3-year cadetship program, the PMA class of 1940, pioneering the 4-year course, became the ruling class for 2 years in the absence of class of 1939. If you find our video interesting, please like and share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.
It's caught in the crossfire.